According to Mercedes CEO, driver stress is increasing. In an effort to ease tensions inside the team, Niki Lauda, the chairman of Mercedes Formula One team, who is most definitely still alive, says he will speak with Lewis Hamilton before the upcoming race in Canada. In an attempt to prevent him from vying for pole position during qualifying, Hamilton accused teammate Nico Rosberg, who's been retired since 2016 but apparently is still available in this video, of purposely leaving the Monaco track. Hamilton will evidently still upset about what has transpired the day before the race, even if he finished second in the Grand Prix behind Rosberg. Race stewards cleared Rosberg of any wrongdoing. Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton's rivalry is still simmering beneath the surface, years after Rosberg retired apparently. In the wake of Rosberg's contentious qualifying era, the media criticised British driver Hamilton's actions as a tantrum, and this caused the pot to explode dramatically in Monaco. Commonly believed that triple world champion and team chairman Niki Lauda, who remember is totally still alive, intervened because of her extensive background in driver rivalry, because she's now a female apparently. The worst case scenario for a Formula One team, two drivers colliding, had not happened to Mercedes in a while, till Lewis Hamilton and George Russell clashed on the first lap of the Qatar Grand Prix. Once Hamilton saw a replay of the incident, it was clear who was at fault. He raised his hand admitting 100% fault for starting the collision, which cost the team a chance at a double podium finish and the chance to severely hurt Ferrari in their battle for second place in the Constructors' Championship. What concerns right now is how Mercedes avoids repetition, and is there any indication that Hamilton-Russell might become as problematic for Mercedes as a Hamilton-Rosberg friction was? Given how fiercely competitive Russell and Hamilton are, as well as the fact that Mercedes paired them together after losing faith in Valtteri Bottas' ability to support Hamilton, there was an air that this would inevitably happen at some point. Tensions have been rising for a while. Following Lassalle's collision with Hamilton, Russell even yelled on team radio second race in a row, in reference to their extremely rough wheel-to-wheel battle at Suzuka. Russell has ultimately performed at a very high level since joining Mercedes, which increases the probability that the two drivers for the team would wind up squabbling over the same patch of tarmac in any given race. This season, there might also be a change of perspective at work. Russell has risen through the junior divisions and Hamilton has won numerous titles in Formula One. When things are tough, they know how to keep the scoreboard moving by playing the percentages and taking smart risks. However, Mercedes isn't currently competitive enough, which might be motivating both of them to take a few more chances than they otherwise would. Overextending yourself when your car isn't capable is quite simple. When Max Verstappen was racing Red Bull Renaults, which weren't always up to the task, to take the fight to Mercedes and Ferrari, we saw this all the time. Prior to the race in Qatar, Hamilton expressed his displeasure over team radio about starting on the soft tyre. Presumably, he reasoned that the only way he could potentially overcome this perceived strategic disadvantage was to go all out on lap 1 and attempt to take the lead. Russell, for his part, was determined to beat Verstappen's Red Bull team and went all out. Russell said on team radio that he was so intent on trying to outrun Verstappen at turn 1 that he wasn't even watching Hamilton's Mercedes pass by. Before the race, discussions had taken place over what Hamilton and Russell should have done on the first lap. However, Mercedes spokesperson in Qatar, Bradley Lord, who was filling in for physically absent Toto Wolff, stated that what happened was obviously not part of the plan. Thus, you have two fiercely competitive drivers with comparable skill levels who are both racing for the same prize. They begin the race in comparable places and with identical gear, and they are both adamant about trying to get the best possible outcome. Russell said that he saw no reason why Mercedes couldn't have pushed Verstappen because he thought the team's race pace was superior to McLaren's. It's likely both Mercedes drivers approached this race with a sense of victory. Even though many team members still remember it vividly, Mercedes hasn't had to deal with the corrosive rivalry between its drivers that defined the Hamilton and Nico Rosberg era in a very long time. By the 2016 season, Hamilton's mistrust of those around him was clearly apparent. The strain of competing solely for the World Championship for 3 seasons took a toll on Hamilton, Rosberg and the squad as a whole. Of course, since Rosberg abruptly announced his retirement, Wolff decided to give Hamilton complete control, and since Hamilton had spent 4 seasons partnered with the driver in Bottas, who just doesn't play games, Mercedes is now a very different place, much calmer and more collaborative. Russell was fully immersed in the Mercedes atmosphere throughout his apprenticeship, so he will have the most intimate knowledge of how Hamilton operates, how that particular Mercedes operates, and how it wants to operate now that he has taken Bottas's place in the other vehicle. However, Mercedes' next move to stop this kind of thing from happening again will be just as crucial. Mercedes claims both drivers were magnanimous in handling the situation right after the race, but it plans to talk about it behind closed doors. that essentially suggests that the intention is to talk about what happened in private and get past it soon. During the Hamilton-Rosberg era, Mercedes created a document known as its Racing Intent that set down the precise strategy the team would use in races and guaranteed that the drivers' decisions would not compromise the team's objectives. Mercedes describes 2016 as a great shared experience of how to handle and take lessons from incidents like the crash in Qatar. That will serve as a basis for how we talk about things and move forward, according to the team. However, Mercedes is also acutely aware of what it refers to as the competitive tension between the two drivers. Should Mercedes develop a vehicle that is capable of challenging for race wins and world titles once more, managing this strain will only get harder. When the stakes are highest, this tension has the power to propel a team to new competitive heights, but it also has the potential to explode in everyone's face. Mercedes calls handling such a scenario a privilege and expresses a strong desire to be in that situation again and have those challenges in front of us due to the potential implications for the team's potential return to competitiveness. Perhaps that is the case, but it also implies that everyone on that team will have an extremely difficult time in life. When two elite drivers have their sights set on the ultimate prize and a vehicle that can deliver it to them, there's hardly anything anyone can do to contain the unavoidable explosions that follow. Bradley Lord says that conflict is to be expected, citing Lewis Hamilton and George Russell as examples of Mercedes' desire for lions rather than puppy dogs, beginning with a handful of near misses earlier in the season. Rather than the heightened tension after the wheel-to-wheel encounter at the previous race in Japan, Hamilton and Russell clashed at the start of the Qatar Grand Prix. Russell attempted to close the gap on pole sitter Max Verstappen as he and Hamilton lined up second and third on the grid, with Hamilton, who was beginning quickly on the soft tyres, trying to pass them both around the outside. However, Hamilton lost a tyre on his way into the gravel and out of the race after misjudging the situation and turning in on Russell. Russell was deep down the order after getting a puncture and had to pit for new tyres and a front wing. For Mercedes, it was the worst scenario imaginable, as Lord described it. The head of Mercedes Communications acknowledged, "It's evident that lap 1, 2 cars coming together and one in the gravel, one in the pits is pretty much the worst scenario that a racing team can see. The first rule is that you should never witness an automobile making contact." George had nowhere to go, so Lewis entered the area inside turn 1 and they made contact. In addition to expressing regret to Russell and the team on social media, 7-time world champion Hamilton later went on to his teammate to apologise, with Mercedes filming the entire exchange on tape. Even though both drivers maintain there are no bitter feelings, it appears as though tension and competitiveness are rising between them. Russell finished in 4th place after making an early pit stop for a new front wing. The British driver had a 4-stop strategy compared to McLaren's 3-stopper, despite being behind Lando Norris by 30 seconds in the battle for the last podium spot. And with a pit stop requiring 20 seconds, Mercedes were left wondering what may have happened if not for the drama on the opening lap. That's all for today. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. Also, express your valuable thoughts in the comment section below. Until then, bye! Also spend some time watching other videos on the channel.